So, you're sitting in your cozy home, sipping on some local maple syrup-infused coffee, scrolling through news about how the world is reacting to America's latest trade moves. But something's different this time. Canada isn't just standing by politely, it's fighting back in ways no one saw coming. For years, the United States has been the big brother of the global trade playground, flexing its economic muscles and making rules that everyone else grudgingly follows. But Canada? Oh, Canada's done playing nice, and honestly, it's fascinating. This quiet northern neighbor is starting to give America the cold shoulder, literally and figuratively. Let's rewind a bit. Canada and the US have one of the largest trading relationships in the world. We're talking about a whopping $700 billion in trade annually. It's the kind of relationship that's supposed to be unshakable, like an old married couple who've been through it all. But even the best relationships have breaking points, and Canada has reached theirs. It all started with the US slapping tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel back in the day. That was a low blow, like your best friend suddenly charging you to borrow their Wi-Fi. Canadians were furious, but they didn't lose their cool, not right away. Fast forward to today, and we're seeing the effects of years of tension, mistrust, and frankly, a bit of arrogance on America's part. Here's where it gets juicy. Canada has decided it's had enough and is hitting the US where it hurts. Money. Canadian companies are pulling back investments in the US, looking for alternatives in Europe, Asia, and even within their own borders. It's like breaking up with someone and then posting Instagram stories with your hot new partner just to make them jealous. Take Ontario, for example. They've canceled contracts with US-based companies, including Elon Musk's Starlink. That's right, they gave the richest man in the world the boot. Then there's LCBO, Ontario's liquor giant, which has stopped importing American wines. Think about the impact that has on California vineyards. It's not just a symbolic gesture, it's millions of dollars gone. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Canadian tourism, which used to pump billions into US states like Florida, Arizona, and California, is drying up. Fewer Canadians are heading south for the winter, choosing instead to explore Europe or stick closer to home. You know how Americans always joke about Canadians loving their Florida vacations? Well, not anymore. Hotels are emptier, theme parks are quieter, and local businesses are struggling. It's a domino effect. Less tourism means fewer jobs, lower revenue, and a whole lot of economic pain. It's not that Canadians stop liking Mickey Mouse, they just don't want to spend their hard-earned loonies in a country that's making life difficult for them. But wait, there's more. Canadian consumers are turning to local products and shunning American brands. There's this app called Buy Canadian that's gained massive popularity. It's like Tinder, but instead of swiping for dates, you're swiping for Canadian-made products. People are actively looking for ways to cut America out of their shopping habits. McDonald's, Coca-Cola, and even Ford are feeling the heat as sales drop in Canada. It's wild to think that a single app and a bit of national pride could disrupt billion-dollar industries, but here we are. Let's talk about the bigger picture for a second. Canada isn't just making these moves out of spite. They're playing the long game. By diversifying their trade partnerships, they're reducing their dependence on the US. Enter the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, or CETA, with the European Union. This deal has opened up a massive market for Canadian goods, and Europe is loving it. From maple syrup to aircraft parts, Canadian to Ukraine. Canadian exports are thriving overseas. Then there's the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, or CPTPP. This mouthful of a trade deal connects Canada with Asia-Pacific markets, giving them access to countries like Japan, Australia, and Vietnam. It's like Canada has been quietly building a squad of reliable trade partners while America wasn't paying attention. Even within Canada, businesses are stepping up. They're restructuring supply chains to minimize reliance on American imports. It's not easy, but the payoff is worth it. Local suppliers are booming, and small businesses are thriving like never before. It's a win-win situation for Canada, and honestly, it's impressive. And let's not forget the cultural shift happening among Canadians themselves. There's a growing sense of pride in supporting local products and businesses. It's like a nationwide movement that's bringing people together. Think of it as Canada's version of a revolution, but instead of pitchforks and protests, they're armed with shopping carts and maple leaves. The real kicker? Canada's approach is inspiring other countries to rethink their reliance on the US as well. It's like a ripple effect. When a country as friendly and cooperative as Canada decides to take a stand, people notice. It's sending a clear message. You can't take your allies for granted forever. Let's zoom out for a moment. This isn't just about aluminum, steel, or wine. This is about a shift in global dynamics. For decades, the US has been the center of the world's economy, calling the shots and expecting everyone to fall in line. But Canada's actions show that this dynamic is starting to crack. It's a bold move for a nation that's often seen as America's little sibling. Imagine the ripple effects. What if other countries, inspired by Canada's resilience, start diversifying their trade portfolios? The US could find itself isolated, its economic dominance eroded. And while that might seem far-fetched, remember that empires have fallen for less. Of course, the US isn't taking this lying down. There are talks of retaliatory tariffs, trade wars, and even diplomatic pressure. But here's the thing, Canada isn't flinching. It's like watching a David and Goliath story unfold in real time. Only this time, David is armed with economic strategies and an unshakable resolve. What's fascinating is how this tension is reshaping Canadian identity. For years, Canadians have prided themselves on being polite, cooperative, and non-confrontational. But this new chapter shows a different side, one that's assertive, strategic, and unapologetically self-reliant. It's a transformation that's as inspiring as it is surprising. And let's not forget the environmental angle. Canada is using this moment to push for greener policies and sustainable practices. By investing in renewable energy, clean technology, and eco-friendly industries, they're not just breaking away from US influence. They're setting an example for the world. It's a masterstroke of combining economic strategy with environmental responsibility. Meanwhile, ordinary Canadians are stepping up in ways that are nothing short of remarkable. Social media campaigns encouraging people to buy local are going viral. Community initiatives supporting small businesses are flourishing. It's like a grassroots movement that's sweeping the nation. And the best part, it's working. Think about it. Every dollar spent on Canadian products is a dollar that stays in the local economy. It creates jobs, supports families, and builds stronger communities. It's a simple idea, but its impact is profound. And the fact that it's happening on such a large scale is nothing short of revolutionary. So, what's next? Will Canada's defiance lead to a new era of global trade relations? Will other nations follow suit, challenging the US's economic dominance? Or will America find a way to mend fences and restore its influence? The answers aren't clear, but one thing is certain. The world is watching. And as for Canada, well, they're just getting started. With their newfound confidence, innovative strategies, and unwavering determination, they're proving that even the smallest players can make the biggest waves. It's a lesson in resilience, adaptability, and the power of standing up for what you believe in. The next time you hear someone call Canada polite, just remember this story. Because behind those friendly smiles and sorries is a country that's not afraid to stand up for itself. And honestly, it's about time.